is a deeper language that every soul speaks. Beyond words, beyond gestures, beyond sound. You can feel it when you walk into a room and sense someone's energy before they even speak. You can feel it when a person says, "I'm fine," but their heart whispers, "I'm not." Reading people's minds isn't about control or manipulation. It's about connection, intuition, and love. When your heart is open and your energy is calm, you can understand what others feel without them saying a single word. You begin to sense the emotions behind their actions, and your compassion grows. When you quiet your mind, you open the door to true understanding, not only of others, but of yourself. Most people spend their days surrounded by noise, external noise from the world, and internal noise from their own thoughts. This constant chatter clouds intuition and blocks the natural flow of awareness that connects one heart to another. To truly read people's energy and understand their unspoken emotions, your first step is to calm the storm within your own mind. When the mind is restless, it acts like a foggy mirror. You can't see things clearly because your perceptions are distorted by worry, assumptions, and emotional clutter. You may project your own fears onto others, misread their intentions, or feel confusion instead of clarity. But when your mind is peaceful, it becomes like still water, perfectly reflective, allowing you to perceive things as they truly are. You begin to sense feelings, vibrations, and truth beneath the surface. The energy of others becomes easier to read because your own energy is balanced and open. Quieting the mind is not about forcing thoughts to stop. It's about creating a gentle distance between you and your thoughts. You become the observer rather than the participant. Each time your mind wanders into overthinking or judgment, bring it back softly with a deep breath. Feel the air enter your body, expanding your chest, and then release it slowly, letting go of tension. This simple act of conscious breathing anchors you in the present moment, the only place where clarity truly exists. When your attention is fully in the now, you begin to notice subtle details. You see micro expressions on someone's face, hear the tone hidden beneath their words, and feel the energy they radiate. These are not magical abilities. They are natural senses that become sharper when your inner world is still. The quieter your mind, the more accurately you can feel. Silence also allows you to detach from judgment. Often, when you interact with people, your mind immediately labels, compares, and interprets. They seem cold, or she must be upset with me. These are thoughts that come from the ego, not intuition. When you quiet the ego, you make space for compassion. Instead of labeling someone's behavior, you begin to feel the emotion behind it. Maybe their coldness is just pain, fear, or fatigue. A quiet mind doesn't assume, it simply observes with love. Quieting your mind is an act of self-love as well. You give yourself permission to rest from constant thinking. You allow yourself to feel peace without needing to fix, control, or analyze everything. In that space of peace, your vibration rises. You attract calm people, peaceful interactions, and clear communication. Others begin to feel safe in your presence because your energy is soothing and non-judgmental. People naturally open up to those who radiate calmness, and that openness allows you to perceive them on a much deeper level. You can cultivate this state of quiet awareness through daily practice. Spend a few moments each morning in stillness. No phone, no music, no distractions. Close your eyes and simply breathe. If thoughts arise, let them float by like clouds. Don't fight them, just observe. Over time, your mind will learn that it doesn't need to cling to every thought. you will start to notice longer spaces of silence between thoughts. Those are moments of pure awareness. In this stillness, your intuition awakens. You begin to feel when something is off, even if no one says a word. You sense when someone is joyful, anxious, or sincere. This isn't guesswork. It's energetic understanding. You are tuning into a deeper field of communication that exists beyond language. A quiet mind is a powerful mind. It doesn't react impulsively, it responds with wisdom. It doesn't absorb others' negativity. It transforms it with peace. And the more you cultivate inner silence, the more connected you become to the flow of universal intelligence that exists in all things. When your mind is quiet, you no longer try to read others with effort. You simply feel them. You trust your inner knowing. You see people through the eyes of love, not confusion. That is how you truly read minds, not by thinking harder, but by listening with the stillness of your soul. When you learn to feel instead of analyze, you begin to understand life on a much deeper level. The mind is a powerful tool, but it often gets in the way of true connection. The heart, however, has its own intelligence. Gentle, intuitive, and infinitely wise. Reading people's energy or understanding their emotions doesn't come from analyzing their words, tone, or actions. It comes from feeling them. Feeling is pure, analysis is filtered. When you feel, you connect directly with truth. When you analyze, you distort it through the lens of judgment, fear, or past experience. Most people live in their heads, constantly trying to interpret what others mean, why they acted a certain way, or what their hidden motives might be. This mental overactivity creates confusion and distance. The mind thrives on control. It wants answers, certainty, and logic. But human emotions are not always logical. They are fluid, shifting, and complex. Trying to analyze another person's energy through logic is like trying to measure the ocean with a ruler. You may gather data, but you'll miss the depth. When you choose to feel, you move from the head into the heart. The heart doesn't need to label or explain. It simply knows. It senses the vibration behind someone's words, the energy in their presence, and the truth in their silence. You might meet someone who smiles and speaks kindly, but something within you feels uneasy. That feeling is guidance. It's your inner compass alerting you to something deeper than appearances. You don't have to analyze why you feel that way. You only need to trust that your intuition sees beyond the surface. Feeling requires openness. You cannot truly feel when you are guarded or afraid of being vulnerable. Many people block their natural sensitivity because they fear pain or rejection. But sensitivity is not weakness. It's spiritual strength. It allows you to read emotional energy with compassion and awareness. When you allow yourself to feel without resistance, you expand your capacity for understanding and empathy. You begin to feel what someone is going through without needing them to explain. To live this way, practice being fully present in your interactions. When someone speaks, listen not just with your ears, but with your entire being. Feel their energy as you would feel the warmth of sunlight or the coolness of a breeze. Don't rush to respond or evaluate their words. Simply let their vibration reach you. In that moment of deep presence, the truth reveals itself. Often, what a person doesn't say carries more truth than what they do. Their eyes, posture, or subtle changes in tone express emotions that words cannot capture. The mind may interrupt, trying to categorize or conclude, they must be angry, or maybe they're lying. Gently set those thoughts aside. Return to the feeling. Ask yourself quietly, what does my body sense right now? What is the energy beneath their words? Your body will often know before your mind understands. You may feel heaviness, warmth, lightness, or tension. These sensations are energetic cues. The more you trust them, the more refined your emotional perception becomes. Feeling, not analyzing, also brings peace. When you overthink every interaction, you exhaust your energy. You start doubting yourself, replaying conversations, searching for hidden meanings. But when you allow yourself to simply feel and trust what arises, you stop chasing explanations. You rest in clarity. The truth always feels calm, while analysis often feels anxious. This practice also deepens compassion. When you feel someone's sadness, anger, or fear, you don't rush to judge or fix them. You just understand. You recognize that everyone carries unseen pain. This awareness softens your heart and helps you respond with kindness rather than reaction. You may not agree with someone's behavior, but when you feel their emotional state, you understand what drives it. And understanding brings peace. Feeling instead of analyzing also enhances your intuition. Every time you honor your inner sensations, instead of dismissing them as irrational, you strengthen your connection to higher guidance. You begin to live intuitively, sensing what's right for you and who resonates with your energy. Your life becomes simpler because you no longer need to dissect everything. You trust your feeling, your truth. When you live from feeling, you move through the world with grace. You no longer force yourself to figure people out. You simply allow them to reveal themselves through their energy. You become more accepting, more peaceful, and more aligned with the flow of life. The heart becomes your compass, and it never misguides you. Feeling is the language of the soul, and when you speak that language fluently, you understand the world without needing to think about it. To truly understand someone, you must learn to listen beyond words. Most people hear with their ears, but few listen with their hearts. Real listening is not just about processing what someone says, it's about sensing the energy that moves beneath their words. The pauses, the hesitations, the subtle vibrations of emotion that language can never fully express. When you listen beyond words, you begin to hear what the soul is trying to communicate, not just what the mind is saying. Every human being speaks on many levels. There are the spoken words, what the mouth expresses. But then there are the silent words, the ones the heart whispers quietly, hoping someone will notice. When a person says, "I'm okay," but you feel sadness in their tone, that's the heart speaking. When someone talks confidently, yet their eyes reveal fear, that's the energy beneath their mask. To listen beyond words means you attune yourself to this deeper, invisible dialogue, the language of the soul. Listening in this way requires presence. You cannot hear someone fully if your mind is busy preparing a response or analyzing what they mean. When you are fully present, you give the other person the gift of complete attention, and that attention itself is healing. It tells them, "You matter. I see you. I feel you." This kind of presence opens a sacred space where truth can emerge effortlessly. Often, when people finally feel truly heard, their defenses melt away, and what was hidden begins to surface naturally. Every sound carries vibration. Every word has frequency. When you listen beyond words, you begin to pick up on these subtle frequencies. A calm voice can carry anxiety. A quiet tone can contain power. A loud voice can mask pain. The secret is not to focus on what is being said, but to sense how it feels. You listen with your intuition as much as your ears. It's like tuning into a radio station. The more you relax and quiet your inner noise, the clearer the signal becomes. Listening also involves observing what is not being said. Silence can be more revealing than speech. When someone hesitates before answering, that pause speaks volumes. When their eyes turn away for just a moment, that glance carries a story. When they sigh between sentences, it's often the soul exhaling emotion. Learn to respect silence. Don't rush to fill it. Within silence, truth breathes. The heart often communicates in quiet spaces between words. This kind of listening deepens your relationships. It builds understanding without effort. When you listen with empathy, people feel seen at a level they can't even explain. You stop reacting to surface behavior and start responding to the energy behind it. For example, when someone speaks harshly, the instinctive reaction is to feel hurt or defensive. But when you listen beyond their words, you may feel their underlying pain or fear. That awareness transforms your response. Instead of reacting, you respond with compassion, which diffuses tension and invites healing. Listening beyond words also connects you to your own higher wisdom. When you practice it often, you begin to notice that your inner voice communicates in similar ways. Softly, subtly, through feelings and impressions rather than logic. By becoming a better listener to others, you also become a better listener to your soul. You strengthen your intuition, your ability to sense truth even when it's unspoken. In a world filled with constant noise, being a deep listener is a rare and beautiful gift. It doesn't require effort, it requires stillness. You simply allow yourself to be fully there, without judgment, without needing to fix anything. You feel the rhythm of the conversation, the emotion in the air, the unspoken words floating between you and the other person. When you listen this way, communication becomes sacred. Every exchange turns into a dance of energy and understanding. You stop trying to make people understand you, and instead, you understand them. You no longer listen just to reply, you listen to feel, to connect, to heal. This is how you bridge hearts, not through perfect words, but through pure presence. To listen beyond words is to honor the divine essence in another person. It's to say, without saying anything, I hear you, even when you're silent. That kind of listening can change a relationship, a moment, even a life. Because sometimes the greatest healing happens not when someone speaks, but when someone finally listens, not with their mind, but with their heart. Releasing judgment and radiating love is one of the most powerful ways to transform not only how you see others, but also how you experience life itself. Judgment clouds your perception. It creates separation between you and the world around you. When you judge someone, you stop seeing them as a soul on their own journey and start seeing them through the narrow lens of your own expectations and fears. Love, on the other hand, expands your vision. It allows you to understand people not by their actions alone, but by the emotions and experiences that shape those actions. When you let go of judgment, you move from criticism to compassion, and that shift changes everything. Judgment is often born out of misunderstanding. We judge because we don't fully understand someone's story. We see a small piece of their behavior and think we know the whole picture. But behind every reaction, every mistake, every harsh word, there is pain, history, and longing. When you pause and remind yourself of this truth, your heart softens. You begin to see beyond appearances. You begin to recognize that everyone, including you, is doing the best they can with the awareness they have in that moment. Releasing judgment also means releasing the illusion of control. The mind loves to categorize people, good or bad, right or wrong, kind or cruel. But the soul doesn't see in black and white. It sees through the lens of growth. Every person you meet is playing a role in your spiritual evolution. The ones who bring you joy teach you love. The ones who challenge you teach you patience, forgiveness, and understanding. When you judge them, you resist your own growth. But when you look at them with love, you open yourself to the lesson they were meant to bring. Radiating love doesn't mean ignoring wrong behavior or pretending everything is fine. It means holding peace and compassion even when others act out of pain or ignorance. Love doesn't excuse, it understands. It doesn't condone, it heals. When you radiate love, you don't let others' negativity affect your energy. Instead, your calmness influences the space around you. You become a light, steady, warm, and clear that reminds others of what peace feels like. It takes practice to reach this state. The first step is awareness. Notice how quickly your mind jumps to conclusions about people. Catch yourself when you think, they shouldn't be like that, or I'd never do that. Every time you judge, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, what might they be feeling right now? What pain could be driving their behavior? This question shifts your focus from blame to understanding. Compassion naturally follows. As you release judgment toward others, remember to release it toward yourself as well. The way you treat others mirrors the way you treat yourself. If you are harsh and critical inwardly, you will project that energy outward. But when you begin to forgive yourself for your own mistakes and love yourself unconditionally, your energy softens. You start seeing the same innocence in others that you've discovered within. Radiating love is an energetic choice. It's choosing to send warmth where you could send anger, to offer silence where you could argue, and to give understanding where you could judge. This doesn't make you weak. It makes you powerful. Love is not passive. It's transformative. It changes the atmosphere of a room. It soothes conflict. It heals without words. When you live this way, life feels lighter. You no longer carry the heavy burden of judgment, resentment, or superiority. You see beauty in everyone, even in their imperfections. You realize that the world mirrors what you give to it. The more love you radiate, the more love returns to you. People respond differently because they feel safe around you. They feel your acceptance. They sense that you see them not for their mistakes, but for their essence. Letting go of judgment is an act of freedom. Radiating love is an act of grace. Together, they awaken peace within you and all around you. And in that peaceful state, you no longer need to understand everything or fix everyone. You simply love, and that love becomes your greatest wisdom. Protecting your energy is one of the most important acts of self-care you can ever practice. Your energy is sacred. It is the vibration that determines how you think, feel, and experience life. Every interaction, every thought, every environment either nourishes your energy or drains it. That's why learning to protect it isn't about isolating yourself. It's about maintaining inner balance in a world that is constantly shifting. When you honor your energy, you preserve your peace, clarity, and emotional strength. You stop absorbing the chaos around you and begin to live from a place of grounded calm. Every person carries an energetic frequency, and when you come into contact with others, your energies intertwine. You may notice that after spending time with some people, you feel uplifted and inspired, while after being with others, you feel exhausted or uneasy. This is not your imagination, it's energy exchange. Sensitive souls, especially those with open hearts, tend to absorb emotions like sponges. They feel what others feel sadness, anger, fear, and carry it as if it were their own. That's why protecting your energy doesn't mean closing your heart. It means learning how to keep your light shining without letting others' darkness dim it. The first step in protecting your energy is awareness. Pay attention to how you feel around certain people, places, and activities. Your body always gives you clues. If you feel tightness, fatigue, or discomfort after an interaction, that's your intuition signaling an energy imbalance. Instead of ignoring it, honor it. Step back, breathe deeply, and ask yourself, what am I allowing into my space right now? Awareness is the foundation of energetic protection. You cannot shift what you don't acknowledge. The second step is setting energetic boundaries. Boundaries are not walls, they are lines of respect. You can love people and still say no. You can care deeply and still choose peace over chaos. When you set clear boundaries, you protect your emotional well-being. You don't allow guilt or obligation to drain your vitality. You learn to give from overflow, not from depletion. Saying no when you mean it is one of the most loving things you can do for yourself and others because it keeps your energy authentic and your interactions honest. Visualization is another powerful way to protect your energy. Imagine a soft, radiant light surrounding you, a bubble of peace and love that allows only positive energy to enter. You can use this visualization before meeting people, going into crowded spaces, or facing emotionally charged situations. This isn't fantasy, it's energetic intention. Your mind and heart are powerful creators. When you visualize protection, you are consciously shaping the frequency of your energy field. It's also important to cleanse your energy regularly. Just as you wash your body, you must also cleanse your emotional and spiritual space. Spend time in nature, meditate, take salt baths, or listen to calming music. Release what isn't yours to carry. You can even say silently, I release all energy that doesn't belong to me. This simple affirmation helps reset your vibration and bring you back to center. Another way to protect your energy is by surrounding yourself with positive influences. The people you spend time with, the content you consume, and the thoughts you entertain all feed your energy. Choose wisely. Spend time with those who make you feel lighter, who inspire and support you. Fill your mind with uplifting words, gratitude, and affirmations that strengthen your sense of peace. Protecting your energy doesn't mean living in fear of negativity. It means living with awareness and intention. It means knowing that you are responsible for the frequency you hold. When you protect your energy, you become more grounded, intuitive, and aligned with your true self. You begin to respond to life rather than react to it. You maintain your inner calm even when the world around you feels chaotic. And the beauty of it is that when your energy is protected, you naturally radiate peace. You become a beacon of light that uplifts others without being consumed by their darkness. Your presence heals simply because you are steady and whole. Protecting your energy is not selfish. It's sacred, because when your light shines bright, you guide others to protect their own. Trusting your intuition completely is a gentle invitation to come home to yourself. Intuition is the quiet, wise voice that lives beneath the chatter of the mind. A soft knowing that doesn't need proof, explanation, or endless deliberation. When you learn to trust that inner guidance, life becomes simpler, kinder, and more aligned. You begin to move through choices with a quiet confidence that feels right in your bones, rather than being tossed about by fear, logic, or others' opinions. The first step toward full trust is to recognize the difference between fear and intuition. Fear speaks loudly, demands reasons, and wants evidence before it will move. Intuition whispers, offers guidance, and often arrives as a bodily sensation: warmth, lightness, a gentle nudge, or an expansive feeling in the chest. Fear constricts. Intuition expands. Notice how your body reacts when a choice is presented. Do you feel tension and tightening, or ease and openness? These somatic responses are honest messengers. Learn their language and you will never be lost. Cultivating trust requires practice in small acts of faith. Start with tiny decisions. Choose a route home that feels right. Pick a book that your heart leans toward, or call the person you suddenly remembered. Each time you follow that subtle inner cue and it serves you, you build a history of trust. Over time, this history becomes a living archive your soul can reference. Proof not for the mind, but for your deeper self. With each small success, your intuition grows clearer and louder in a loving way. A quiet mind supports intuition. The less you clutter your inner space with fear-based scenarios and over-analysis, the easier it is to hear that soft voice. Daily practices like mindful breathing, short pauses, or a few minutes of early morning stillness create the fertile ground in which intuition flourishes. When you sit in silence and listen, you learn to distinguish the whisper of wisdom from the roar of worry. Make space for stillness and you will be amazed at how readily guidance arrives. Trusting intuition also means trusting your mistakes and reframing them as lessons, not failures. Even when your inner guidance appears to mislead you, view the experience as information. What did you learn? How did your heart grow? Mistakes teach refinement. They help you tune more precisely into the difference between fear-based impulses and soul-led knowing. Compassionately reflect, release any harsh self-judgment, and carry the lesson forward. This process softens the mind's need to control and strengthens the heart's willingness to follow. Surround yourself with supportive influences that honor inner wisdom. People who respect your journey, books that elevate your spirit, and environments that calm rather than agitate will reinforce your ability to hear and act on intuition. Conversely, if you're surrounded by constant noise, cynicism, or pressure to justify every choice, your inner voice will be drowned out. Protect your listening space with loving boundaries and gentle pruning of what no longer serves your growth. Affirmations are a practical tool to anchor trust. Simple statements repeated with feeling prime your psyche to accept inner guidance. Try saying, "I trust my inner knowing," or "My intuition guides me with love," and notice how the body relaxes into possibility. Over time, these affirmations retrain the nervous system to welcome intuition as an ordinary, reliable partner. Finally, remember that intuition is not separate from divine intelligence. It is your personal channel to universal wisdom. When you act from this place, decisions do not feel heavy, they feel like home. You create from alignment rather than from scarcity, and your life begins to flow with grace. Trust grows into a steady companion, and you move through each day with the quiet assurance that you are being guided. The world becomes less about figuring things out and more about feeling into what is true for you. Follow that inner light. It knows the way.